Building off the last video, this video will focus on how to add and subtract fractions from each other when the denominators are slightly different. Let's have a look at these shapes. First of all, what are the fraction of these shapes? The first would be 5 out of 8, and the second would be 1 out of 4, or a quarter. In the previous video, we would usually add the numerators together as the one step to answer the question. However, the denominators are not the same. So the question is, how do we make the denominators the same? Well, let's look at the shapes visually. They both have a different number of sections shaded in, and a different amount of total sections. What could we do so that they have the same number of sections? We could break up the second shape into more sections to match the total of sections from the first shape, like so. Now they both have the same number of total sections, the fraction of the second shape has changed visually. The fraction is now 2 out of 8. A quarter, or 1 out of 4, and 2 out of 8 are equivalent fractions. We now have two fractions with the same denominator, therefore we can add the numerators. The final answer of the addition is 7 out of 8. There won't always be visual representations of the fractions we add and subtract, so how can we add fractions together that have different denominators? We would find the lowest common multiple of the denominators. What this is the first number that appears in the times tables of the two numbers. How we can find the lowest common multiple is by first listing the first few multiples in the 4 and 8 times tables. Next, we identify the first value that appears in both lists. The lowest common multiple of 4 and 8 is 8. This is the value that must be in the denominator for both fractions. So the question is, what can we multiply by 4 to give us 8? We can multiply by 2. However, to ensure the fraction is still equivalent, we multiply the numerator by 2 as well. This gives us the fraction 2 out of 8. Now the denominators are the same, we can add the numerators to give us the final answer of 7 out of 8. What if we subtracted the fractions instead? The process is exactly the same. We know the lowest common multiple of 4 and 8 is 8, so we multiply the denominator and numerator by 2, giving us 2 out of 8. Now that the denominators are the same, this time we subtract the numerators. The final answer is 3 out of 8. Pause and try these questions. Could we simplify 3 out of 12? 3 and 12 can both be divided by 3. 3 out of 12 is simplified to 1 quarter, or 1 out of 4.